as journalists ascended to the ranks of the elites, they abandoned the working class that they used to belong to. And I argue that today they're using a moral panic about race to distract from the ways in which they have benefited from income inequality in America. It's not about politics, that's a mirage. The divide in America is about class.
Welcome to Reeves Rants. Thanks for joining me. I pieced together a good video for you today, but we're asking the big question, is the media doing more harm than good? I got a couple different videos spliced together for you here, giving evidence and showing direct intent by the media to try to encourage people to pay attention to a specific topic. And we have a journalist on here asking the question if they're doing more harm than good. I think it's important for the media to just tell us the stories, tell us the facts, and let people dictate the reality that they see. Not that we should be told what to think, told what to believe, and told to dismiss evidence that goes against narratives that are being sold to us.
The delay between what we see and what we know to be true and the liberal media, and they get that label because it seems to only happen counter a narrative that exists for them. So why are they so slow to call stuff out when it's blatantly obvious?
And almost all of us can look, whether you're on the left or you're on the right, you can look at some sort of media and see that you think it's manipulating you. And if that be the case, then you should be cautious of that media.
We've had so many stories debunked that we wonder who's telling us these stories and why are they telling us these stories and where are they getting their information? And if it's not true, why are they printing this information?
We should, as people, learn to identify when we're being sold stories and sold on an emotional ploy as opposed to facts and evidence. With that being said, thanks for hitting that like and subscribe button. I really need your help. I'm trying to get to 100 subscribers. Let's roll into it.
Trust in media, newspapers and television is hitting an all-time low. People don't trust us, they don't believe us, and it makes me wonder if this job, as I'm currently doing it, is effective, but if it's doing more harm than good.
For her to question whether the media is doing more harm than good shows a complete absence of awareness and self-reflection of our media. The outcome of Joe Biden being our president is horrible. And there's lots of evidence that directly points to the fact that the media directly influenced and helped Joe Biden get elected. And that is a negative outcome for everybody in America, even for the people who have more money than brains and don't realize that this economy is not good for them. It is hitting everyone. And to dismiss the facts in favor of our feelings, the lack of ability for journalists within the media to see it speaks volumes of how stupid these people are and how uninformed these people are and unwilling to inform themselves.
We're going to start focusing mainly on climate, like global warming, and like that's going to be our next our focus was to get Trump out of office, right? Without saying it, that's what it was, right? So our next thing is going to be for climate change awareness.
They're in the journalism business and don't realize that you don't have to sell a story. You don't have to sell a video on YouTube to go viral. It just has to be a really good video. If a story is accurate and interesting, then people will pay attention to it. But CNN feeling that they need to focus on it as opposed to emphasizing on facts, presenting evidence, and then if it is an important story, then it will be. But for the media to be telling us and forcefully focusing on something that they believe to be important instead of letting their viewers and their audience dictate what's important by what they watch, tells you why CNN's ratings are in the hole. It tells you why most of the left-wing media's ratings are in the hole in comparison to, say, Fox News, whose ratings are through the roof.
So that's like the next
pandemic-like story, like that will beat to death.
The fact that media outlets beat any story to death is an exact example of their influence on the story. But to feed the stories the way that they want to manipulate people.
It seems like years ago that we were hearing that Trump was colluding with Russia, that he wouldn't have won the election without Russia, that his whole presidency was a kind of Putin plot. Well, there's now serious evidence that it was the Clinton campaign and Hillary Clinton acolytes that were directly involved in the generation of what has proven to be a conspiracy. Untrue. Think about how much media you watched.
That is direct manipulation by the media.
55% do not believe that every side deserves equal coverage. They said it outright. It was 12,000 journalists who were polled. Wow.
So back to what she asked. Yes, the media is doing more harm than good because they're more focused on what they think is important than just telling the news.
67% say journalists are purposely is the word, trying to mislead people by saying things they know to be false. So it's not just we don't trust you, right. It's we believe you're actively making things up.
That one's got longevity. You know what I mean? It's not like there's a definitive ending to the pandemic, or, you know, like it'll taper off to a point that it's, you know, not a problem anymore. I think it's going to take years, so they'll probably be able to milk that for quite a bit.
And if you go watch any of my other videos about climate change or anything, you'll see that I'm old enough to know and can tell you that they've been doing this and they've been talking about it for 40 years and the evidence isn't there.
There's no reference in science to what you're saying. You're a demagogue and a liar. Why does nobody say that?
He's right. They can just keep talking about something, keep talking about something, keep talking about something, and no one's ever going to actually ask for evidence. Climate change seems to be the biggest one. No one's asking for any actual evidence to prove the claims that we're seeing.
The banks of this world know it's not going to happen. Otherwise, you couldn't get a goddamn loan in London. You know those 30, 40-year mortgages? The world will be over by then.
But yet, there are facts that we're dismissing. So yes, the media is negatively affecting our world and our country specifically.
I guess my immediate reaction to that video is that that's not a very good strategy. Like, CNN is going to hemorrhage viewers even more because, I mean, the climate change has been an issue for years, and I mean, it's been something that's being covered for years and years and years.
I remember a report in 1989, I was a freshman in high school when it came out, that said we had 10 years left. By the year 2000, we had to fix climate change. What did they get wrong then? The same UN panel, by the way, issued both reports. What did they get wrong then that they are so certain that they have now?
The question I'm trying to ask is the media's focus on these things building an artificial fear, an artificial focus on something that wouldn't be there unless it wasn't for the cheerleading by the media. If the media didn't put so much of their ideas and their opinions into the facts and alter those facts in some cases, or tell facts how they want to be told, is the media influencing your opinions about these things, or are your opinions your own because of the facts that you've been given? People are allowing the media to do the thinking for them and tell them exactly what they should do, think, and say. And I believe that the media's only intention is to get viewers, but because of their lack of understanding of the psychological impacts of dismissing facts, they are then altering our future, altering the information that human beings are getting, or altering things in a direction that it would not have gone without the media's influence. Russian collusion is a perfect example. People still believe that Russia was involved in Hillary Clinton losing the 2016 election when she was just a horrible candidate. But the media's direct attention on what they believe to be facts, as opposed to actual facts, has altered the minds of many people. So the media is having a very solid influence on people's lives, and people are unaware of it.
Climate change is not a new story, so I don't, if they're really planning to just, change to like all climate change news all the time, I think many more people will tune out than are already tuning out. But
as far as making it new or making it something people would watch, I've always thought that, people could report on climate change in a way that was interesting and that got people to watch. Think about how much they focus on the weather and they show these extreme images. But
when you say that it's just not being reported on in an exciting way, is to dismiss the fact that the excitement behind the fear of it came long ago when it first was started to talk about. But now that we're decades into this and we haven't seen the evidence that we were told we were going to see, it's now lost its luster. It's lost its popularity because you can't keep selling the same story over and over and over and over again.
Have you ever had a dream that you want him to do you so much you could do anything?
And never have any evidence. And then at the same time, never bring up the other side of the argument. The climate fanatics only focus on the fear behind climate change and never show any evidence that disproves their fear.
So these are basically people you're saying who believe that Bill Nye is actually a science guy and not just a buffoon created by television.
Exactly.
So people are starting to see that, and have been seeing for a long time, is this really important, or is this important to the media? And if you only talk about one side of the argument and never bring in the other side of the argument, eventually they've heard everything you have to say and it's no longer exciting. With that being said, Thanks for hitting that like and subscribe button. I really need your help. I'm trying to get to 100 subscribers. Thanks for watching. Later.